In this town, there's no off-season. The news never stops, and neither do we. It's always game day in Cleveland with Andy Baskin and Daryl Ryder.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this pre-draft edition of It's Always Game Day in Cleveland, brought to you by Smiley One and Bryant. We love those guys. They do a fantastic job for all your heating and cooling needs. Why don't you check out my friends at Bryant and Smiley One. All right, Daryl, let's get right to it. It's been a while since we've done a podcast due to all, just issues. No big deal. But my question for you is, today's story about the Browns, as we're less than 30 some hours away from the draft. I think that's about right, 30 plus hours away. Is that the Browns are taking phone calls for that number 2 pick. Daryl, if they weren't, I would say they weren't doing their job.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it also it's lying season as well. Last ditch effort to if someone wants to come up and give them the Godfather offer, right? One you can't refuse, then so be it. But I really feel like with Tennessee's GM coming out today saying they are not trading the number 1 pick, they're going to make the selection, which means Cam Ward is now going to be a Tennessee Titan. That ultimately puts the Cleveland Browns on the clock at number 2 here as we record this on Tuesday evening. So, but even as you're listening to this podcast, either Wednesday or on Thursday leading up to the draft, it remains the same, right? Tennessee going to select Cam Ward. We don't know what the Browns are going to do at 2. Andrew Berry, really, I'm worried actually now, the more I think about my Travis Hunter prediction. I've been on the Travis Hunter train since late February. I think I was the first person on the air to say that Travis Hunter should be the guys the Browns should ultimately draft because
hang on a second. Can we everyone who's listening and watching, please give Daryl a standing ovation for being the first, probably not only on the station, but across the world. In fact, the universe. I do know that Daryl predicted Hunter before the Sports Talk radio station on March. Oh, now you're going to give me the cold shoulder? Give me a break.
No, you were breaking up, so I couldn't hear anything you were saying.
Oh, yeah. Sure, I was breaking up.
Yeah, you're now frozen.
All right, is that what they're doing or not? You seem worried.
You
said you were worried. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm worried that because Andrew Berry was so complimentary of him, didn't say a whole lot about Abdul Carter, didn't say a whole lot about Shedeur Sanders, other than Shedor's on the table at 2 last week, and that they're comfortable with the medicals concerning Abdul Carter. I'm just worried that maybe Andrew's doing the old okie doke on us here, and maybe Travis Hunter isn't the pick because he's the one guy he can't stop gushing about, right? He compared him to Shohei Ohtani. Right. So either that or Hunter's going to be the pick, right? I want to think that Hunter's the pick, but again, I know how Andrew Berry operates and he doesn't like to tip his hand. So that's my only concern, is that when you mention Travis Hunter to him, he just lights up. He has just a litany of amazing things to say about the guy, which Andrew really doesn't do, right? I mean, Andrew historically has been a poker face when it's come to the draft. So that's the only thing that has me nervous. Not about the player, not about his health, not about his background, not about his talent or ability. It's just, is Andrew Berry pulling one on us, right? Is he pulling off one of the all-time smoke jobs in Browns draft history? Because I am convinced, I want them to draft Travis Hunter, but I am now convinced that they're going to do it. But as we get closer to the draft, I find myself second-guessing myself and trying to, read into stuff. It's kind of like being at the beginning of a relationship, right? Does she like me? Does she not like me? And you go through the mental gymnastics about that. Well, I'm kind of doing the same thing when it comes to Travis Hunter. I'm doing all these mental gymnastics trying to, either find reasons why the Browns are going to draft him, and then, of course, why they might not draft him and go in another.
All right, if it's not Travis Hunter, Daryl, who is it in your paranoid world? I think
it's Abdul Carter. I'm convinced it's not Shedeur Sanders. No one seems to have a top 5 grade on that kid. And
I keep seeing 21 Pittsburgh. 21 Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, there's even talk coming out of New Orleans. My Saints don't even want him. Like, they're looking at other quarterback options in the draft. Maybe not necessarily with the 9th overall pick, but, later in the draft, right? So, I just, if the Browns come back in and get him, I'll get it. He better be the guy. You know what I mean? Like, then you really set yourself up. You have to really believe in him, number one. Number two, you have to commit to him. And number three, I just hope that that's a football decision, that they don't do what they've done in years past, where they've made decisions based on marketing and jersey sales and potential, right?
Yeah. I agree with you.
I hope that whatever moves they make Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, I hope each and every one of them is 100% a football only move. This team went 3-14 last season. Okay. They can't put back-to-back winning campaigns together. It's time to stop messing around and get the house in order. And it starts with this draft, Andy, and some of these fantastic picks that Andrew Berry has to work with to infuse this team with some young blue chip talent, starting with my guy, Travis Hunter.
Daryl, I was on the Abdul Carter train until last week, almost 2 weeks ago, and I started having conversations with folks, and I'm like, how can the Browns draft someone on defense with the number 2 pick? How can they do that? They averaged 15.2 points per game. 15.2. That's like 7 points lower than the third place team in the AFC North. And when you're talking about trying to score a point, they're almost 3 touchdowns behind Baltimore offensively per game. The last 3 games of the season, the Browns averaged 6 points per game. How in the world could they not look at somebody on offense with that number 2 pick? And that knocked me off the Abdul Carter train, because I was just like, and I'm almost thinking if they're not taking Hunter at 2, that they're going to trade. And maybe we'll see what happens if they do that. The other part of this is that if maybe they want to do the whole Buffalo shuffle, right, and grab both guys from Buffalo, really, if they wanted Shedeur Sanders, don't they really just need to get to 20? If New Orleans doesn't take him at 9, all they need to do is get ahead of Pittsburgh, right? Isn't that? I mean, and if you're reading the tea leaves that way, right, that's what they need to do. Although I got to tell you, Daryl, I've had more people say, the Browns absolutely positively love Jalen Milroe. They're going to do whatever they can to get him. They're going to come back into the first round. The Reese connection just makes it so easy and so obvious. And, I'm just telling you, they really, 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 really want Reese. They want him. They want him. They want him. If they want him that bad, take him at 2. Not that they have to, but you know what I'm saying? So everybody seems to be an expert, and you wonder where the leak is from, if that's the case.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So there are 3 teams in front of the Steelers that you could potentially do the deal with, right? At 18, Seattle, 19, Tampa Bay, and then 20 with Denver. I would prefer to do business with an NFC team. That's just me. So that leaves you with Seattle and Tampa at 18 and 19, because you don't want to be given assets to a team that is on the rise, like the Denver Broncos, who you potentially could have to compete with to get where you want to go. You already got to go through Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, potentially Cincinnati, right? You got to go through all those teams. So, and Denver is, trying to get themselves on the train track and running downhill here. So I don't want to arm them with assets that can help their situation. So I feel like doing business with Seattle and Tampa Bay might be the way to go. But again, okay, is he, if he's not worthy at 2, is it worth giving up prime draft assets to go get him at 18 or 19? Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the other part of this equation, because where the Browns are at right now, Andy, they can draft. They got 5 of the top 104 picks, right? They're at 2, 33, 67, 94, and 104. You should be able to get no less than 3 contributors out of those 5 picks, okay? And obviously, I'm staring square in the eye at number 2 and 33. Those 2 picks better be hits for Andrew Berry, or you have to fire him. Like, if he does not hit 2 and 33, that's going to be the reason Andrew Berry ultimately gets fired, right? Because we know his first 2 first-round picks haven't exactly panned out. Jed Wills.
Although he's not, Daryl, he's not acting that way. He's acting like if he misses all 4 picks, he's back next year because they've been so calm, cool, and collected about this thing. Let's come back on It's Always Game Day in Cleveland. I want to go inside the mind of Daryl Ryder. It's Always Game Day in Cleveland. It is always Game Day in Cleveland. It is our draft preview show. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. We are brought to you by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. I want to thank everybody who's watching us on YouTube and, of course, listening to us on the Odyssey app. All right, Daryl, let's go through some things that are rolling through your mind. Are the Browns in a position right now to make this team a playoff team next year? Let's start there, and can they do it with the draft?
No, I don't think that they are. I think that they are a year away at least. With them bringing back Joe Flacco, you can sell that to the fans. We brought the guy back that came off the couch and led us to the playoffs. His numbers in Indianapolis, very comparable to what he did in those 5 games with the Browns in the regular season in 2023, Andy. So you can at least sell that to fans, right? Kenny Pickett, you're throwing something against the wall. Maybe you find a little something there. And
is Kenny your starter week 1 right now if they don't draft a quarterback at 2?
I don't know. I really don't know because I don't know in my head definitively if Pickett beats out Joe Flacco. I can't say that right now. I really can't. I'm not dodging the question, but I just think right now it's too tough to tell. And then whatever quarterback they draft, right? I have gotten more and more aboard the Will Howard train. I really like
Daryl, I get ripped every day on my show for being on the Will Howard train. I get ripped every day. What more do you want? 4 wins against top 10 teams, a national championship, the ability to come back from losing against Oregon in a play that maybe could have gone either way at the end of the game, but they came back and beat Oregon at the end of the year. And probably one of the worst moments in Ohio State football history, losing to Michigan. He was able to shake that off and go win a national championship. I don't want to hear, they didn't want him at Kansas State or he couldn't even start out. Yep. I don't want to. That's complete bull. Stop it. Stop it. Now, maybe
100%.
Howard is the 3rd-round pick if you're looking at if you think the quarterback class isn't there. But I think he's going to be a good 3rd-round pick for somebody and can't wait to talk about Will Howard maybe not this year, but the year after. I think Will Howard's going to be – that's ridiculous. When it needs to be strong enough, it can be strong enough. Yes, he played arguably the best wide receiver in college football last year. But I'm just telling you, I think Will Howard's a winner, and that's not easy to come by.
Yeah,
thank you for letting me rant without making fun of me.
Well, because I actually agreed with what you had to say, and it made sense. It's
a first. It's a first.
There's a first for everything, Andy. But because when I think of rants, I think of Andy Baskin.
Okay, here we go. It's like listening to the morning show and the afternoon show combined with you.
So
I've been known to go off on a decent, just because I don't. If I'm gonna rant, I better be passionate about it. So if I'm not passionate about it, I'm not going to put my neck out there and say something that I don't believe in.
Absolutely,
Sorry.
I get it. I just like giving you a hard time. You know that. It's all love.
It's all right. Yeah, whatever you think, whatever you say. I got everyone killing me on Will Howard on my show.
Yeah, well, I have your back. So when I am on your show Thursday, ask me about it, and I will have your back because and you know who else has your back? Brian Hoyer. I filled in on the morning show Tuesday morning, and we had Brian Hoyer on. I mentioned Will Howard, and he loved the idea.
And you know whose back I had when he played here? Brian Hoyer. God forbid we had a halfway decent quarterback that actually went into the quarterback room to learn plays and understood the system and wasn't worried about being in Vegas.
Or wasn't wobbling around the hallways, and I'll leave it at that. I'm okay at 67 or 94 for Will Howard. Either one of those spots. Like you said, 3rd round. I would prefer 94.
I'm good with Henderson or Judkins too.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm a little worried that maybe Will Howard doesn't last there. So I don't know. You know what? Hey, if you want to trade a couple of 6th-round picks to move up, you got 4 6th-rounders, and you know how I feel about late-round picks. 6th and 7th-round picks, I just really don't care about.
We can't hit on 3rd-round picks. We're going to hit on a 6th round? What do we have, 4, 6, and 7?
Yeah. Number
4 picks in the 6th and 7th round.
I'm sorry. 104 is the 4th round. I apologize. In the 6th round, it's 179, 192, 200, and 216. You got to keep 216. That's a lucky number. 216. Got to keep that one. And then your 7th round pick is 255. So feel free, Andrew Berry, if you would like to stay in the good graces of the local Cleveland media, please trade 179, 192, 200, and 255. Go ahead and keep 216. We'll give you that one, but get rid of the rest of them.
So you can get out of work early on Saturday. That's why you want to get out of work early on Saturday. Yeah.
Well, the Cavs are playing.
I respect it. I mean, laziness is next to godliness, if you ask me.
Well, I also have other things to do work-related on Saturday. So, I would not mind my game.
Tell the Browns. Tell the Browns. Don't they know who you are?
Yeah, they do. They don't care.
You need to step in and say, "Don't you know who I am?"
That's
just weak. Just weak.
I'm lucky they still let me in the building. Okay, let's be honest about it.
Hang on. Let me check my phone. Yes, that's true. That is absolutely true, Daryl. You're lucky they let you in the building. I don't know. I look at this draft. I look at the needs. I look at all the things. I also don't think fans are totally in love with anybody. 4 years ago, when they brought in the swing and a miss. Should I even call him by his name? The swing and a miss.
Yeah, I just call him.
He's still on the roster.
Actually, I almost said something that would have been downright absolutely hilarious, but might have gotten me in trouble too.
Yeah, I know many people have done that.
Well,
they tailgate their jokes.
Here's I was going to do the first initials of swing and a miss. Okay, but leave the and part out, and then I realized that might not be appropriate. So
just move on, Daryl. I want to continue to do this podcast in the future. Just
let me ask you this: where, after setting two aside, right? Because I think we've kind of talked ourselves till we're blue in the face about that. When you look at the Browns' needs, I know you asked me early in the podcast about the Browns potentially using this draft to get them into the playoffs this year, and I said no because they just have too many holes. So let me turn it around on you and ask you, considering the holes that they have, and we both know what they are, what would you prioritize with those other 4 picks in the top 40? So 33, 67, 94, 104. What 4 positions would you try to fill with those selections?
I'm going running back, wide receiver, defensive end, DB. What are you doing with Newsom? What are you doing with Newsom?
I think they trade Newsom this weekend.
So now you're looking at DB, right?
They signed that. They signed a corner from Miami coming off injury, right? So I think they trade Newsom this weekend. So instead of DB though, I was going to go tight end because this is a good tight end.
Yeah,
draft.
I agree with you. And
David Njoku is in the last year of his contract. They have had conversations about a contract extension, but because anything can happen with that, right? I think
can we be honest, Daryl?
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski loves tight ends, and if he had his way, I think they'd have a fullback too, a full-time fullback. I know he likes to take guys in and convert them.
I would say this year I would agree with you. My take on like where they're at. I feel like this is now a transition back to a type of offense that Kevin really enjoys running. Right? They did the Ken Dorsey thing. To try and get something out of Deshaun. Unfortunately, Deshaun sucked, and then he got hurt. And then he got hurt again during rehab or whatever it was he was doing and had to have the Achilles sewn back twice. And even though Andrew Berry was non-committal about availability for this year, let's be honest about it. It doesn't matter if Deshaun's available, number one, and number two, he's not going to be
when Jimmy Haslam said swing and a miss, it was over. End of game over. I still thought there's a chance he could end up playing. I think Kevin still talks the talk on that. Yeah. That if he got healthy, I think if he got healthy at the end of the season and they needed a quarterback for week 16, 17, and 100%. He was healthy, I think that he would play. I think they would try to squeeze a little bit of blood out of that rock. All right, more draft coverage as we get set to tee it up when the Browns hit the clock on Thursday night. It's nice to be back in the first round. I just wish we weren't picking second because that would have meant we had a better season. It's always game day in Cleveland. Oh, the draft is almost here, and it's always game day in Cleveland. Thanks for listening on the Odyssey app, and of course, we love when you watch on YouTube as well. Evan O'Brien is our producer. He is amazing, as you can see each and every time that he puts a clip out there or makes the show look like fantastic, much better than the two hosts that are out here. So, Evan, we always thank you. All right, so we're ready for the draft now, Daryl. Are you good?
Yeah.
Where will you be seated for the draft? What are you going to do? I think I have a couple extra tickets for Journey. Why don't you just blow the night off? We'll go watch and we'll have some fun.
Yeah, you had to go there, didn't you? Had to rub it in.
Oh, is Journey your group? Is it your group?
It's not. It's not that they're my group, but I'm not going to lie. As much as I love and am thankful for my job, I would probably much rather spend Thursday night at a Journey concert than covering the draft. Right,
Daryl, just swear a couple times on the air, and you won't have to stop believing. You'll have reality. It'll be good.
Yes, because we will end up going our separate ways.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that wheel in the sky, man, just keeps on turning.
Yeah, but I'll be sitting my usual media seat. Hopefully, we have a new Cleveland Brown by 8:30. Hopefully by 9 o'clock.
And you're not going anywhere because too many people think the Browns might try to jump back in. At the end of the night.
I mean, I'm anticipating I'll be able to knock out most of my work, by 11 o'clock. But if they do jump back in, obviously that changes things. And I'm again, we touched on it briefly about the jumping back in for Shador, but what would you jump back in for Milroe? Would you jump back in for Dart? Like
again, I think I know Andrew Berry downplayed it, but if you're going to go back in and get Milroe, why wouldn't you get him at the end of the first round? Give up a couple picks that you might regret somewhere down the road, but you haven't been that great at drafting players either. And then you have the 5th-year option on him if he's any good.
Yeah. That also caught my attention, Andy, when he was asked about that 5th-year option, because I had been hypothesizing and talking about on the air. And
we both did.
About just how important that 5th-year option is when you talk about your roster management, because you get that 5th-year option at the rookie pay scale, whether other than the other option, which is you go from after the 4th year of a rookie contract, now you jump up into the contract extension pay scale for that player, right? So, and here's the thing where maybe that doesn't matter. By then, the Deshaun Watson contract will be officially off the books. The salary cap, the anticipation is that it's going to keep going up, right? They're going to keep selling those Christmas games to the streaming services. I think that's something that we've learned, right? That now the the National Football League is going to play games on Christmas. They're expanding their their international scale, okay, as far as games go, neutral site games go. They expanded it this year. I anticipate in years going forward, that's going to expand, which generates more revenue, which means that salary cap keeps going up. And then also, too, they are going to do a deal with the NFLPA for that 18th game, okay? And again, that's going to generate more revenue, and the salary cap goes up. So Andrew Berry, and I will give him credit for this, he's very good at kicking the can down the road, but the more he kicks that can down the road, it's almost like inflation, right? Your existing debt, that number stays the same, okay? But the value, I guess, keeps going up as far as, how much things cost in present day dollars. So you have that debt number, in this case, the salary cap number, but it's not the percentage of that cap number keeps going down and down and down because the cap keeps going up and up and up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It all makes sense. Yeah.
So, so as critical of Andrew as I've been, I think that's one area where he's absolutely nailed it and managed things very effectively. I just wish he was better picking players to put on the football team. And, I said earlier that I hope whatever decisions they make over the next 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I hope that they're football decisions 100%. I also hope that Andrew Berry pays attention to the red flags and sees them as stop signs. If players have off the field trouble, they've got serious allegations against them that are currently pending. If they've got an arrest record that again involves serious allegations, and that listen to that stuff, listen to it, because I think one of Andrew Berry's biggest weaknesses is on the person side. And I give him credit because he does believe in second chances for guys. But my view is those guys have already gotten second chances. So make sure that if there are red flags with guys, please, like, okay, if it's weed, whatever. Like, I'm pretty liberal with that. Fine. I can live with that. Because it's not like the Josh Gordon situation years and years and years ago, right? The stigma around it, the laws around it, at least from a state level, all that stuff has changed over the last 10 to 15 years. So, you evolve with the times. But if there's any criminal behavior, if there's any assault behavior, listen to those red flags and absolutely do not bring those players into this organization, because odds are, and we've seen this, those players are going to slip up.
Yeah, and so Daryl, I know what you're saying, and I hear where you're going with that. I'm just curious. Whoa, there goes my computer. Sorry about that. That's what I'm trying to fix things here. What's going to wake you up on Monday morning, or I'm sorry, on Friday morning, and make you say, "Uh-oh, they made a mistake. They tried to be the smartest team in the room."
If they trade down, if they trade down,
what if they trade down and they go to 3 or 4 or 5, like 3, 4, or 5, and get the guy they originally wanted? Yeah.
Hang on. Let me finish.
Okay.
If they trade down and it costs them Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter.
Both. Okay.
Okay. Because to me, those are the two blue chip guys in the draft. Like, if they ended up drafting Abdul Carter, I'm not going to kill him for it. Now, that's not the player that I would draft. I think that that's a luxury pick because you already have Myles Garrett and you don't necessarily address a foundational need for the franchise, right? In which Travis Hunter would. You'd get your future number one wide receiver that, by the way, you've had to make 2 trades to bring in number one wide receivers, Odell Beckham Jr. and Amari Cooper. Now, you got some production out of both of those players. Obviously, you got more production out of Amari Cooper than you did Odell, but neither one of those trades, Andy, ultimately had staying power. You see what I'm saying? Like that.
Absolutely, I see what you're saying.
You got short-term returns on those trades. You didn't get anything long-term. Travis Hunter's a long-term solution. He can be a cornerstone for your franchise. And I'm not saying that Abdul Carter can't, but you just invested $40 million a year to convince Myles Garrett to stay here and be happy and put up with the losing and the 3-ring circus and everything else, right? So, I'm about filling needs. And I don't view Abdul Carter, or I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't view Travis Hunter as a luxury pick. I view Travis Hunter as a necessity pick. Just so they need, as you said, they need running back help. They need tight end help. They outside of
quarterback
Hunter,
help, which we kind of went through that.
The defensive line help, secondary help. Oh, by the way, before we wrap up, because I know we're about to say goodbye. I did want to mention this on the podcast, Andy. What a relief it was to see the Browns put the video of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah walking into the facility on Tuesday for the start of the offseason program. I got real nervous last week when Andrew Berry was asked for an update on JOK, and he used the term nebulous about his future. I got really, really, really nervous there. So just to see that JOK was smiling, he was walking with ease, he did not appear to have any issue. Like, prayers answered first and foremost. And now I'm really excited if he's going to go through the offseason program. Hopefully everything goes smooth. And I, feel a little bit better, just seeing that video earlier today. I got to be honest with you, because I know, like, we're supposed to be impartial and all that. But, like, seeing that video made my day. I can't lie.
Right.
Just seeing it, that just put a smile on my face. I did a fist pump. I hurried up and I, quote tweeted the video out and all that. But just seeing him walking into that facility and talking about feeling blessed and whatnot, that was like the best thing. And I think that's the perfect way to end the podcast.
Yeah, I agree. Daryl, we're coming back. Are we going to come back after the pick? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, we can try and do that. Yeah, if you want to do
a quick
on Thursday night.
Let's just do a real quick react podcast. Evan will be on board with that, I hope, unless he's got to worry about the rest of the NFL. So we'll see you Thursday night on draft night. It's always game day in Cleveland.